Hey y'all, it's Mary. It is Sunday night and this is Stamps-N-Lingers video tutorial. Hope you didn't think I wasn't coming on. I had another little glitch with Facebook. It just doesn't like me these days. I'm not real sure why. But let me go ahead and get the computer refreshed so that I can see y'all when you get joined up with me here. It does look like we're live. We got 8 folks. Hey Donna. Thank you for joining, and Julie, I appreciate you coming tonight. Jean, hello. And we're gonna wait just a second until everybody kind of gets checked in. Hey Jean, I knew you didn't mean Martha, I got that. Hi Nancy, how are you? Appreciate you joining tonight. So just so you know, this is gonna be kind of a hot mess video. We have a couple of things. I do have a card that we're going to look at parts of, and then tomorrow you'll see all of how to make it on my blog post. Hi Karen. Hi Jean, glad you could join. And all the ladies there with you having dessert. Mary, Karen, Donna, appreciate you coming tonight. So I've had some requests for some technique videos instead of just concentrating on a card. To do some just kind of technique-y sorts of things. And so that's what we're going to do today. And this little card that uses the, hey Sharon, thanks for joining, I appreciate it. This card uses the Sweet Little Something stamp set from the Occasions catalog. And it also borrows this really adorable sentiment from the Baby Bear stamp set, which is in the annual catalog. So Occasions catalog and annual catalog right here. But the purpose of this card today is, first off, to show and make a couple of double loop bows, also known as a Billy Moan bow. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to dye a little bit of baker's twine so that you can see how to make baker's twine any color that you need. Hi Sue, hi Denise, thank you for joining, I appreciate it. Then we're going to play with the Stamparatus for a little while, and y'all, just so you know, I've used it approximately, well, you know, for this card. So my learning curve is still on the upswing, and we're going to kind of learn together here today. I've watched videos just like y'all have, so I hope you'll cut me a little bit of slack, and maybe we can learn something together. Hi Pat, glad you could join. And then we're going to spend a few minutes looking at coloring with some blends. Not very long, because I think we've got some other things to do. And then if we have time at the very end, I'm going to show you a technique I just learned this weekend called the black ice technique. So hopefully we'll get through all of that. Hi Pam, appreciate you. Yes, Finn is, well, he's not under the table. He's next to me waiting for me to back up and run over his paws, I think. Hey Amy. Hey Karen. Yeah, the bunny takes a minute, so we're going to play with that. All right, so let's get going. Oh, here's the inside, because I know you guys like to see it. Sweet Little Sun Bunny, that one is from the Sweet Little Something stamp set. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to do some double loop bows, all right? And we're probably gonna make a couple of these so that you can see how to do them. They're real easy, and they're really actually one of my favorite kinds of bows to make. Yeah, Sharon, hopefully we'll get to that, and hopefully I won't bork it up. Hi, Linda. Nice of you to join, and Angie, I appreciate that. All right, here we go. So, the double loop bow, I suspect this is also known around the interwebs as the Billy Moan bow. So, I like it the best with linen thread. You can try it with other baker's twines. I've even made it with metallic thread, but to say that that's persnickety is kind of an understatement there. Hey Brooke, glad you could join. Hi Sue, appreciate it. All right, so to start, you're gonna have your linen thread kind of unwound and kind of straightened out like that. And you can make this kind of any size that you want. If you keep all 4 fingers together, it's a bigger one, and if you kind of squish them up like that, it'll be smaller. So we'll start with a smaller one for our card today, and all you do is you hold the end between your forefinger and thumb, and then you wrap 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll see I kept the strands kind of close together and kind of straight. Hi, Donna. And then you're going to go between around 2 fingers. So we start with 4 fingers, and then we go to 2 fingers, and we go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we cut the end, and we carefully extricate it from our fingers. And you can see you've got kind of a loop within a loop, probably the genesis of the name double loop, just guessing. Then all you do is you just take the two sides and you push it together, and it's going to start smushing up a little bit, and then you just give it a twist. Not a big twist, just a little twist. Now, I learned this a while ago from someone on this blog, actually, on this video, and she reminded me that I have these wonderful eek tweezers that are opposers. So when you push together, they open, and when you release, they close, which means they're like a third hand. So I just squeeze the juncture of the loops in my third hand, and then I can set it down like that. And then I pick up my thread and I cut a shorter piece, and I just thread it under there like that, and I'm going to do a double knot, preferably without getting my tweezers caught in my knot. So do a 1 overhand and 2 overhands. Give it a good pull. Then let your third hand let it go, and then you have what looks like a total hot mess, which it is for a second, and then you just play with it a little bit until it becomes the hot mess you want it to look like. Remember, these are designed to look kind of sloppy and messy and casual, so you decide how sloppy, messy, and casual you really want it. Just like that. And then I'll sometimes leave these tails on because then they look like the tails of a bow. And then I'll usually adhere it to my card front with a glue dot of some sort. And sometimes, like on this card, I will tie another little bow with a coordinating piece and add it with a little dab of liquid glue. So then you have a very easy little bow. So let's make another one, because they're that easy and because I like them. And because why wouldn't I care? Why wouldn't I want these bows sitting around? So this one we're going to make larger, and I'm going to do that by just keeping my fingers, instead of squishing them like I did with the other one, I'm just going to keep my hand kind of flat. Hold the end between your thumb and your forefinger and wrap once, twice, 3 times a lady, and 4 times. Around 4 fingers, and then you're going to wrap 4 times around 2 fingers. And then you're going to unwind more thread. Okay, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Thank you, Paula. Cut it. Karen, I make it look easy because it is easy. The trick is, don't be bummed and give up on it if when you take it and get it all tied together, it looks like a total hot mess, because it could. But the whole beauty of this bow is, 1, it's supposed to look a little bit hot messy, and 2, it's easy to fix. So once you get it off of your fingers, you just see the 2 double loops, push the ends together and to the other side and give a little twist. Did you see how nicely that worked? Now I have a figure 8 of double loops. Take my handy tweezers and squeeze so I can set it down. Y'all, if you don't have these tweezers, I want you to, when you get done here tonight, go to Amazon and find them, Eek Craft Tweezers. I think they're like a whopping $6. And so I think they're the best thing since sliced bread. Now, true, I'm on a diet and can't have sliced bread, but you know what I mean. Okay, and then I'm just doing 2 overhand knots, and I'm giving it a good squeeze, because this is the thing that's holding all the pieces together now. Pull that down like that. See? Hot mess. That's okay. Hot mess is good. You can pull the loops to even them up, like that. Pull them apart. See, this is how you know something is easy. It's repeatable, right? Things that aren't easy, wait till I get to the Stamparatus. Those aren't necessarily a skill set that a person has yet. So there you go. So there is another Billy Moan bow. Very, very easy. One of my very favorites. So let me show you. Okay, I'm going to pause just one moment. And I'm going to wait and see if people need me to make a third one. Do you need to see it again? I'll wait. Do, 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 do. Susan, don't be scared to let go of the tweezers. That's why these are so good, because when you let go, they squeeze tight. A little tip about the tweezers is if you use them routinely to pick up adhesive that you've screwed up, like if you've, I don't know, put a mat on crooked, like I've never done that, but if you were, not like me, but you did, then you're going to get adhesive on these, and then they kind of get a little sticky, okay? But you can use just a little alcohol swab or something and pull that glue off. Okay, I am going to go with crickets on needing another bow, and we'll go on to the next thing on the agenda tonight. So, you notice that I have a Blushing Bride bow made with baker's twine, but we don't have Blushing Bride twine, so let me show you how I made that. Put my little Billy Moan bows away. I'm going to use my powder pink ink pad and a bone folder. I'm just going to cut a piece of Whisper White solid baker's twine, and I'm going to hold with my bone folder, and I'm just going to keep pulling that across that ink pad until I get it the color I want. And I'm just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. Baker's twine is like my favorite thing ever, because I can actually, I'm a little bit bow phobic, in case you haven't figured it out. And so anything that makes making a bow easier, and yes, I have a Bow Easy, and sometimes that Bow Easy makes the bow easier, but not always. Baker's twine almost always makes the bow easy. So I just keep doing that until I have the color that I want. And then, safety tip, clean your bone folder off. Don't just set it aside, because sure as shooting, you'll be making a card and you'll need to rub a score line, like when you're folding your card base, and you'll rub it with the ink, I promise. You will. So just go ahead and clean it. Now, you want to let this dry a little bit. That's kind of a nice porous thread, but it's going to take a second to dry. So in the interest of TV magic, I made one earlier, and I just, to finish off my little card here, I just tied a basic bow. Your basic bow, and I can do that because it's baker's twine. Otherwise, we'd be here until, a month of Sundays. And I want it relatively small for this application. And then all I would do is take my Billy Moan bow. The Bow Easy is a confounding thing for me, Sue. I know that Sue Prather uses it excellently. And sometimes I can get it, and sometimes it just doesn't work so good. I know the basic technique, I know the theory behind it, but I can't. There's some threads or ribbons that I just can't make look like a good bow. I just can't do it. So I don't. You'll see a lot of them that I don't ever use. As an example, I have yet to get a bow I like out of this ribbon. Ever. It makes a bow, it looks like a bow, but it also looks like it just looks wrong. So I never make bows with that, ever. All right, so I've put a little dab of liquid glue on there, and then I'm going to take my previously made and now dry powder pink baker's twine bow and stick it on there and give it a little trim. And bing bada boom, I have another bow ready to go on a card. All right, so that is the bow piece of this little card, and I can assure you the next piece we're going to talk about is stamping the bunny image, and that is part of our technique for tonight. So this is pure fast fusing cardstock and paper together. and putting it in a card base. So this is a very straightforward card to make. Okay, so let me set that aside, and let me set my buzz aside, and let me pull out. Y'all remember when you first learned to drive a stick shift? Did it make your stomach knot when you knew you needed to like go to the store because you had to take the stick shift? I am in that place right now with the Stamparatus. I'm not accustomed to it yet, and so it still makes me a little bit verklempt to use it, but we're gonna give it a shot. And just understand, I'm still in my learning phase, okay? Looks like it works same as a fork. Julie, I'm not real sure what that means, but okay. Yes, Paula, it is a wonderful, wonderful stamp set. I love these little photorealistic stamps. And this does do a wonderful job. So let us talk our way through this for just 1 second. You remember from all the videos I know you've watched that it has 2 plates that disconnect from their hinges, and you can move them up and down and do what they call hinge step stamping. And we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to be busy with our own little card. And you can bring from this side, you can bring down like that, you can turn them over, and you're going to see all of that tonight. It's got 2 very shiny magnets that I believe would actually hold Thor's hammer down. They are very, very strong. So I did put some washi tape on them. That has been less than useful, but I've got them. And I'm keeping them very far apart, like that. Go to your room. So the very first thing that I did was I cut a piece of my grid paper to 7 inches by 7 inches with the little bit of extra on the ruler, and I stuck it up in the corner. And I'm going to show you why in just a second, right after I pull the stamp set that we need to use out. Hang one, hang one, hang one. Okay. So, what I did, now I've heard some people who've had problems when they try to stamp up in the corner. So to be quite honest, I haven't even tried that. That'll be my next step. I wanted to kind of get a feel for this thing before I got special. But I've also heard about people using shims to help with that, and we'll talk about that another time. So what I did for this card, and I saw this as a tip on YouTube, is I set my cardstock where I was going to hold it. I'm going to stamp out in the middle of the field, and then I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm just going to mark the corners of my card. Okay? In case it wiggles, I'll know where my starting point was. Okay? And then I'm going to take my Thor hammer magnets, and I'm going to magnetize it. Now, this is a photopolymer stamp set, so under here I do have the foam mat that comes with the Stamparatus, okay? And you're going to want that. Mary, that's a very good idea to laminate it. That's a great idea. I might do that. Okay, now here's another little tip I learned. You got your little washi tape, or who suggested duct tape? That's a very good idea. If you very carefully put the magnets like this, you're very likely to end up trying to stamp your washi tape. So put the magnet the other way, just saying. Not that I've done that. Yes, I totally did. All right, now I'm going to use, to make this little bunny that I made for this set, I'm going to use crumb cake and soft suede. And I'm going to use these 2 most detailed stamp images. And I'm doing it a little bit backwards. What are the odds? You know what? Maybe I should do it the way the stamp set says. Let's try that once, just because, why not? Maybe that'll be easier. This is an experimental video, so let's do some experimental videoing. Okay, so the first stamp is the all-in-one, completely filled-in stamp dooha. And all you do is you figure out where you want him to go. And I want him to go right about there, because if you'll recall, I put a sentiment under him. This is the bear. Why is the bear? Does anyone know why the bear is in the Sweet Little Something stamp box. Does anybody know? Hang on a minute. I told you this was going to be a hot mess. I did. All right, let's put him aside. Now, in the Baby Bear stamp set is my Sweet Little Something stamps. Don't do it. Do the detailed one first. I take that from Amy, who is my mentor in things, in always things. So I'm going to do what she said. I always do what she says. Okay, so we're going to start with the most detailed stamp first. And you just place him where you want it to be, like a so. And then you bring your first plate over and give a little press. And now get ready, because it's all going to wiggle when you pick it up. That's okay. I've been told, I don't know, but it's been said, no, that even the Misty does that. So just double check it's still where I want it. These two detailed images I'm using, let me see, Sharon. Use a piece of acetate to lay on your paper before you lay your stamp on in case the stamp is a little dirty. Then pick up the stamp with the lid and remove the acetate. Good idea. Good idea. I trust you, Amy, always. Okay, so this is the soft suede, and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap it. I learned something when I was doing my first experiments. I'm probably going to get some mini ink dots, because when you have a smaller set, a smaller stamp, it'll be a lot easier to ink it up. Okay, so I've got him pretty well inked, I hope. And I'm just going to bring him down, and I'm just going to press, 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 press. I have noticed it doesn't stick nearly as bad once you have it inked. Like so. Get it laid back down where he belongs. Okay, and then I'm going to leave him there. And I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to try a little experiment right there. Yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to pick up the second one. Let's see, who said to do the acetate? Let's try that. Look at this. When you do the detailed one first, it gives you a place to start lining everything up. You'll see that it's easy to line this up. So let's try this idea from Sharon, I think it was. If I put my magnets in closer to the center, the paper doesn't wiggle as much. Okay, we'll try that. Right up until it pops together. Okay. So all you do here is you just line up the image, and it's actually pretty easy to see. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can actually see the edge of the stamp where it belongs on the little bunya, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to put my panel down. Oh, look at that! Y'all, we learned something new today. That's awesome. Who told me that? Was that Sharon? Was that Sharon? Oh, that was a good tip. Okay, so now I'm going to ink that second detailed stamp with my soft suede. Like that. And bring it down. And give it a little push, push, push. Hey, this is fun. I like it when I get to learn something too. That's cool. And then we pick him up. See how he's starting to pop off of the paper already? All right, and then I'm going to use, this is the beauty of the Stamparatus. I'm going to use the other panel. The creative corners for the Misty should work fine with the Stamparatus. I don't have that, so I have to do what I've got now. I'm going to practice in the corner though. Okay, so the final set, the final stamp, where's my, I really, really like that. This was a great idea. Y'all make note of that great idea. Then I'm going to take, this is the final image. This is the final image, she says. And you're just going to line that up with the edge of the bunny, like that. And then bring this dude down to pick up piece stamp. And then you're going to make sure that that fin hair is on the other side of your stamp and not on the stamping side of the stamp. Hi, Linda. Glad you could make it. And then for this one, I'm using crumb cake. I tried all sorts of different color combos, and crumb cake on the soft suede looked the most like a little stuffed bunny to me. So here we go. Everybody hold your breath. Boom! I like it. I like it. So now here's why the Stamparatus is cool. What if I wanted to make 10 of these cards? I've already got all of my stamps all lined up and ready to go. I know where to put the next 9 of these pieces of cardstock. I can just boom, 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 boom. Ready to rock and roll. Kind of cool, huh? All right. So I'm going to separate those to their corners and pick him up. And then I'm going to very carefully lay this like this without shutting it. Okay, don't shut it. And step him out of the way. Now, I think you all know how to stamp a sentiment, so that's the only thing that's left to do is to stamp a sentiment in powdered pink. And you'll end up with a card front like this. Put it all together with your layers with some Bundle of Love DSP and powder pink cardstock, and you'll be ready to go. What if you're having a boy? Or what if the person you're taking it to is having a boy? Try Pool Party cardstock, color your baker's twine with Pool Party, and stamp all of your sentiments with Pool Party. And you can do the same with your inside sentiments. Stamp the flowers in Pool Party. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't want to tell you. Use yellow. Use Lemon Lime Twist would be fun. Huh, Julie? I know the Lemon Lime Twist would be your choice. All right. Anybody have any questions about this particular application of the Stamparatus? I'm going to try one more here in about 2 seconds, okay? So let me set this aside. And I'm going to get this back and take off these stamps because I'm going to do something different with it. And this is the part I have not done. So it's going to be all new. All new. Will she be able to do it? We don't know. Okay, now let's see. Let me look at my list. All right. So we're going to make a card that I haven't made yet. And we're going to do some sponge masking. Use a cloth to rub the top of the clear plate so it's smooth and easy and gets the smoother stamp image. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so what I have here, we're going to do some masking and sponging, and then we're going to use the Stamparatus to do the second thing that I think is so good about it is, you know how when you stamp a stamp and it doesn't quite come out right? Even with your Stamp-A-Majig, it is really hard to come back over and get a good dark and lined up image. So I believe the Stamparatus is going to be awesome for that. So what I have here is I have a regular A2 size card front, so that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I've used some washi tape to mask off a center. The other day I saw a really, really pretty sunset, and the sunset had some bare winter trees against it. I would show it to you, but you know, it's in my phone and my phone's busy being a camera right now. So can't do that. So I'm going to try to recreate that. We'll see if I have any shot of doing that. So when I looked at the picture, it looked to me like it was peekaboo peach, so saffron, a little bit of soft sky, and I decided to call it Marina Mist and the darker part. Okay. So I'm going to use some of my little stamp and sponge wedges. You know how to do this. You take the regular full-size wedge and cut it into maybe 6 pieces, and then take a piece of your cardstock, identify it with the name, and use I use the mini handheld stapler because I've still got one of those. Staple it to the sponge, and then you can keep it always the same. So I'm going to start with the peekaboo peach. And I'm just gonna kind of stamp around, I'm gonna sponge around here. Now you see that I have exposed cardstock here, so you gotta be a little careful when you're doing this kind of a masking technique. When I saw the sunset, it was kind of orange just in the very last little piece of the horizon. Okay, we'll keep him ready because I may have to come back. Hey Susan, glad you could join. And next up I'm going to use a little So Saffron. I'm just going to kind of go up the sky a little bit, if you will. Now in the picture that I took, there was way more blue of the sky than there was the orange and the yellow, so I'm gonna head on in and get me some Pool Party. Nope, sorry, Soft Sky. And I'm gonna start getting some blue coming. I like to keep my sponge relatively dry because it's a lot easier to add ink than it is to take it away. And I'm kind of overlapping the colors, and if it becomes a different color, that's okay. I mean, that's kind of what sunsets do, right? Okay. All right, and then I'll finish up. Hey, Becky. Hi, how are ya? This is from a picture I took of a sunset that I saw the other night at my place here. And so I'm just kind of, you know, trying to sort of recreate it. So I'm starting at the top with the blue, and it'll be darker at the top, like this. There we go. Come down a little bit, and I think I'll come back with a little more of the soft sky there in the center. Now, this will be one of those cards you don't get to see all of today. You'll see it during the week, but you'll know how I did it. I kind of like that. I think we're going to do that. I might add just a little more peach down here, right at the horizon of my washi tape. Just give it kind of a buff. There we go. Okay. Now, I'll put these aside so I don't do something stupid, like get it everywhere. Thank you, Susan. Okay, now the next trick is to be sure that my removable repositional washi tape doesn't tear my cardstock when I pick it up. So just be careful, take your time. Kind of pull directly back. If you pull up like that, it tends to damage the fibers more easily. So if you pull it directly back and keep the end low, I think you'll have better luck. There's that piece. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, that's kind of cool. Look how it looks like it's blinking. Yeah, I'm easily amused. You guys doing okay with the change in time? I kind of like it because on my body clock it's 7:30 and I'm still awake at 7:30. See? Tomorrow it won't be so great. Of course, I was up at 3:30 this morning. I don't know why, but it was really 4:30 because I didn't change my clocks last night, so I had to go around changing my clocks, which is a blow to the system. I'm just saying. You think it's 3:30, which means you have time to get tired and go back to sleep for a while, but it's really 4:30, which means you don't really have all that much time. Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay, so there I have a masked off sunset. All right, and now I'm gonna play with the Stamparatus again. See how brave I am? See how brave I am. And I'm going to open it up. And I'm using Lovely as a tree. So I'm gonna take the foam pad out. Now, I'm just gonna fess up, people. It's the first time I've stamped with the green rubber, the red rubber, whatever that color is. What is that color? That's interesting. Okay, I'll make sure that's clean. And I'm gonna put it in this, out here like so. I'm at 2.5. Okay. Put my Thor's hammer holders down. And to recreate my sunset, I don't know, Julie. I want them to leave it just like it is right now. All right, so I'm using this because this is what my sunset in my brain and in my picture looks like. And I'm just going to lay it like so and pick it up. Okay. And then I'm going to use some Memento black ink and ink these trees up. I'm gonna get some good, when I do silhouettes, I don't know about you guys, but I like it to be seriously black. So I'm getting some good ink on there. And then I'm gonna bring this across. Everybody hold your breath, hold your tongues just right. Let's see what we get. Aha, I like it. But you know what I would like better? Is just a little bit darker. So I'm going to take the beauty of my Stamparatus. I'm going to ink this up again. I took the bunny stamps off because I am that fast. And if Finn had taken the bunny stamps off, I'd never see them again. All right. Oh, yeah, baby. Now I'm an absolute Stamparatus convert right there, just like that. That's all it took was this card front right here. Boom. All right, so I'm not real sure what I'm going to do with this. I just know it's going to be ready for me to use sometime this week. So you'll be wanting to watch for that card sometime in the near future. Get my Thor's hammer holders off of here. And we'll set this aside for safekeeping. Didn't that turn out pretty? And I'm telling you people, it looked just like that. It was peekaboo peach at the horizon. I promise you it was. That will make a pretty card, I do believe. I do believe. Very simple sentiment right there. A little bit of matting. Perfect. All right. That's if I do say so myself, which I did, of course, so you know. Okay. All right, we'll take this off and set it aside. And that is it for Stamparatus-ing. It is 20:40, which means we've got 20 minutes. Let me put these back over here so I don't lose them. Let me think. Jean, you wanted to do some, you wanted to do a little bit with the blends, didn't you? So hang on and let me get something that we can color here. Just a minute. Hang on a minute. We're going to get some color in. We're going to get some color in. Or we won't. We're going to pull out a stamp set and color something. I have this pretty little Hello Color stamp set that I haven't even inked yet. But let's use it. Let's use it. Let's see, we'll use this pretty set. This one right here. I like it. And we'll get a piece of cardstock. And this is very vanilla, and that might not be our very bestest choice ever, but it's okay, it'll work. And we're gonna stamp this in basic black archival ink. Good girl, that's what I call. Can you remove the rubber from the wood stamps? Oh, you mean you've already mounted them on the wood and you'd like to remove them? Is that the question, Paula? Ooh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure how you would do that. I'd Google it. That's what I would do. Or as I heard somebody say on a TV show the other day, Google it. Google it. I don't know. Amy, if you're still on, do you know whether you could do that? Okay. So Amy says yes, and that means it's so. Okay, we're just going to stamp this. This is purely for demonstrating purposes. And we'll just do a couple of quick little colors with it. Now, this is very vanilla. I would suggest when you first start playing with the blends, go with watercolor paper or shimmery white paper. It helps to contain some of the bleeding. And then you want to really let the ink dry before you get going. Okay? Now just remember, please, I am not an artiste, so it's not going to look beautiful, but it works. My first tip is, I know they say on the videos that you can start with any color. I like to start with the light color, and I pretty much always use the fine tip end. So when I first start, I just kind of stay away from the very edges. The thing we're trying to talk about here is bleeding. Bleed out of your lines. So I just stay away from the edges. Start flooding with color to start with. And wait till you see my very artistic way to blend. It's amazing. You are going to be mystified. When I'm playing with the blends, I tend to keep both of my colors open and ready, so all I have to do is swap back and forth. Once I have my light color down, I just come back with the dark color, and I get right against the edge, but I don't push to the edge, if that makes sense. I'm barely thinking, my brain thinks, get by the edge, and then I don't get very close. I put a little bit of the dark in, switch over to my light, and then start to pull it off like that. You can see you start to get blending just by even using just the light again, right? But if you get too carried away, you are in fact going to get bleed over. You can remember you have your color lifter, which also has a light and a dark, or a fine tip end, and you can use it as well. So Jean, tell me if that helped you. Tell me if you want more. All right. So put our lids back on. And I've got some blue. I'm just going to use that. Somebody just messaged me, Jean, if that was you, I can't see you. So let's see, let's do a little bit of blue here. This is the light Night of Navy. If I was really doing this, this would have been a bad choice probably. I'm not a Broncos fan, so blue and yellow, orange is my thing. Also remember that when you're doing the blends, you want to blend while it's still wet. So I don't go very far before I go back and do the blending that I wanted to do. Okay? All right. So that's all we're going to do with the blends. Let's take the last 15 minutes, if y'all can stand it, and see a little bit of the black ice technique that I just learned this morning. So, all right, here we go. All right, so this technique, I saw a wonderful video on YouTube by Melissa Kerman, Kerman. It's a great video. She does a great job. So that is how I learned it. And I tried a couple of different things. This is basically stamping and embossing on foil. So I've tried a couple through the day. This one right here is just the first step, which is the ink step. You can see I got a little carried away, so this became a reject pretty quickly. And then I did this. This one is on champagne foil. Can you see that? All right. And this one is on silver. I also experimented because I really wanted to stamp a tree in always artichoke, not in black, for the card I was making. And it turns out that, in fact, the archival inks are the ones that stick to it, or stays on if you have stays on ink. So the regular classic inks, they just don't want to stick to the foil, even after using the heat tool, I found. Okay, so those were a couple of things: champagne, silver, trash. Well, these are both trash too. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it on copper, because I really like copper. And what she suggested, and I like the idea, is to take a little bit of liquid glue and put it on your work surface, just a little bit, because what we're trying to do here is sort of hold your square in place, okay? Okay. She also said don't touch it like I just did, so I'm gonna wipe it down with the paper towel, because you don't want the oils in your fingers. There, screwing it up. So the first step is to take your basic black, or you could use your basic gray if you wanted, but so far I've only used black, and use this edge that's away from this little well. And by putting it on your paper, you can kind of turn it, because I can't do that very good. So I'm just going to use my paper towel. The first step is to make some streaks straight down the foil, like that. And you can see it's kind of picking up at the top. You want your lines to be as straight as you can get them, like so. And then I just turn my paper like that, because, you know, once I got it stuck down, I didn't want to change it. Hey, Kathy, glad you're here. Appreciate it. Okay, and then you do from the other direction, so that both the top and the bottom of your square. Oh, that got a little carried away, which is why I have two of these waiting to be done. All right, let's get rid of that. Come back here. Put a little more of this glue down. See, I told you, it's still a learning process. This is, I don't want to say it's hard, but there's a learning process, right? So let's try that again. Let's try that again, because I didn't want quite that much black on it. I mean, there's vintage, and then there's, oh my God, what in the world was she thinking? Can you guys see in the camera how that's making those streaks? Turn this back over like that. And then hold this side down. And reach across. Sorry for the arm across, people. Okay, I think that's good enough right now for what we're doing. Keep this handy. Okay, now I'm going to use my pine tree. My pine tree, and I need a block. Where's a block? Here's a block. I found a block. And I'm going to stamp a couple of pine trees on here. Also in the basic black, archival ink. Now remember, this foil is slippery, so if you're not careful, if you push too hard or you get a little bit wiggly, it's going to kind of like that, which is code for it's going to smear. So I'm going to stamp it like that. And then I think I'll just do one more. show us the oh my god version. I don't know what that is. What's the oh my god version, please? Oh, the one I did. Oh, sorry. I got you. This is the first one. See what I did right there? Ugh. Kind of went crazy. Yeah, you do have to have a light touch with this technique. Light touch was not my call sign when I was in the airplane. Light touch. Well, okay, it kind of was, but not for this. See what I did? So, yuck. Right? Okay. Time to use the Stamparatus. No, not for this. I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, let's see. We need a sentiment. A sentiment. What should we put there? Well, let's just do what we did earlier. How about we don't do a sentiment? We're kind of getting close on time. But you would just put, in the same way that I did this, I used my Stamp-A-Majig to be sure I had it straight, and I just stamped that there, and then I did the next portion of the black ice. Okay. Now I'm going to dry this really good. I'm going to use the heat tool on the low drying setting. Remember, our heat tool has two settings, high and low. The low setting is for drying inks and things like that, like we're doing right now. And the high setting is for heat embossing, which we're going to do in a hot second. You really want to do this because you're trying to, and the next part is the hardest part for me, is getting the Versamark on here. So we'll see if I'm able to do it. Okay. That's probably done. Could have used the Stamparatus to stamp the tree, yes, Julie. It wasn't quite that critical where I was putting it, and I was pretty confident I would get a good stamp. Okay. Call that good. And now we're going to make it icy. So I'm going to use my clear embossing powder, get it out, get it ready, and my Versamark. Now look what this does to your Versamark pad. So I would recommend, I haven't done it yet, but my next order is going to have a new Versamark pad in it, and I'm just going to keep one that's kind of like this, so that it's ready to do this again, because I think I will be doing it again. I think I like it. And she's got some other embossing techniques that I'm going to try. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the side of the square, and we're just going to barely skim this edge of the Versamark pad straight down this panel. What we're trying to get is a thing that looks like you're getting an ice storm in Lubbock, Texas, without the wind, which never happens. But that's what we're trying to get. Okay, so I'm going to hold down on this side, and I'm just going to barely bring it down. Barely bring it down. Barely bring it down. And I'm going to reach across and hold there. Barely bring it down. Okay, let's see what we get. I'm going to pick it up, preferably without touching the panel, so I don't smear that Versamark. Come on. And sprinkle my clear embossing powder on it. Like that. And you can start to see where I maybe didn't get as much coverage as I wanted. Tap, tap, tap that off. Give it a little blur, And then, here we go. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Patty, is a Versamark pad just for the black ice technique. And then I'm using the high setting. And we watch the magic happen. Want to be sure all of your powder gets melted. and then you want to let it cool. Melissa Kerman, that is correct, Julie. That is where I saw it the first time. All right, so just let it cool. And can you see what it's doing? You can see that it looks like a sheet of ice falling out of the sky. And I think it's really cool on copper. I like it a lot. And I'm not going to even give you a sneak peek of the card that it's going to be, but you'll see it on Tuesday morning. So, there you go. Okay, you guys, it is just about 9 o'clock. Any questions before we get off of here? About the double loop bow, about dyeing your baker's twine, using the Stamparatus, using your blends, or this black ice technique? Any questions at all? No? All right. Well, then I hope you all have a wonderful week, the first week of daylight savings time, and we're headed into spring, folks. Hopefully I'll see you here next week. See ya. Bye-bye.